There we go. It's morning. Finally. Man, I love sleeping, but I love the morning, but I also love dreams. I had a dream that I was, what happened? Oh, I was like looking at the stars, and then I drove to some place where I could see the stars well for some reason at night. And then I was looking at all the stars, and there was a ton, and then I could like see a planet in the distance, like another Earth. And I was like, wait, is that always there? I thought that. I was like, did I miss that? Or is it just like a clear night and there's always been a planet? And then it started moving. And then our human race, spaceship was like flying towards it. And I got to watch it land on the other planet. I don't know what was going on, but it was wild. I don't know. I've been sleeping like a maniac, really good. Fitbit life, I get at least 7 hours, but that's after the awake time. I really want to reduce that awake time because I'm awake, like the wakefulness. I got like an hour and a half. Anyway, still spinning in my dreams too. Friday, the 22nd, 122 622. Bless up to the 1226 people. You know who you are. That's the magic number right there. So yeah, we're doing it. I'm reading this book, Subtle Art of Not Giving an F. The F stands for fuck. It's been really good. I have one more chapter, and I don't know if I'm going to keep going through it, but I really like this one chapter that I wanted to talk about, but I also ordered another book called Shoe Night. Shoe Night? No. Shoe Dog. Shoe Nice is that crazy YouTuber one time. And it's by Phil Knight. So I think all of that in my head just got blurted out. But Shoe Dog is the creator of Nike, Phil Knight's book. And I'm really excited. I heard it was a really inspirational book. So I bought that. I'm going to try to kill it on the plane ride to Utah for Dunk Camp, if you don't know that I'm going, which is Monday. And I think I said it was the 22nd, but it's not because today is the 21st. Today's the 21st? What's happening? Oh, God, it's not even the 2-2 day. It's a 1-2 day, or a 2-1 day, if you will. I don't know what's happening. Neither do you. I'm trying to find this chapter. Anyway, I'm going to Utah, Dunk Camp next week. Probably will do a little snippet of these podcasts in the morning there, but it might be a little later, actually, because of the time change. But we're still doing it. So I'm excited for that book. This podcast, I usually talk about anything I want. Yesterday, I ranted, and I love ranting. So that's definitely going to happen a lot. But I really am enjoying these books. I'm learning so much and expanding my brain. And that's one of the main things I love to do on this is help other people expand their brain. And this is completely free. I love helping people the most. And I feel like the way I can prove that, because when you sell something to me, I'm getting over that. But it feels like you're just trying to sell something. So I do like to have some kind of free outlet that I can still inspire people and help them achieve their goals without having to do that. But I really value what I do. And I do think one-on-one is the best way to get someone to do what they really need to do. They have an accountability partner. They have somebody they can express all their emotions, a third party that they're not tied to with their group of friends or their family. It's just been so powerful, the clients that I'm working with. So, but this right here, if you can't afford that, this is all gravy. All right, let's get to the chapter. So chapter 6 is you're wrong about everything, but so am I. The author's like agreeing that he was wrong about everything. So the general gist of the chapter is that everything you know, everything you believe, question it, because everything that you know and believe is probably holding you back. And so, yeah, I just like to go through these chapters and read some little pieces. All right, so one real quick thing is moderate comfort now by mortgaging greater happiness and success later on. So a lot of people are just choosing comfort, and I talk about the comfort zone and things like that, and the subconscious, how your brain is wired to go towards something that's known, and that unconscious is hard to go after. But once you go with what's unknown, it builds what you know around it. It builds that comfort zone fish. If you listen to that podcast, I really liked that one. Certainty is the enemy of growth. Being wrong opens us up to the possibility of change. So when you're certain about something you believe in, certain about your values, it doesn't allow you to grow. So just even if you still believe in it, still question it, just to let in those thoughts and analyze them and see what comes out of it. And there's actually a great quote by Aristotle in this book that I really like. So we'll get to that. another thing about brain wiring is once we create meaning for ourselves, our brains are designed to hold on to that meaning. So for example, if you're in an experience in your life and he talks about you associate meaning for everything. So no matter what happens, like if you failed that test and you associated with doing something you may believe in, whatever experience led you to fail that test, like, oh, I'm not good at math. So you believe that. Right? That was actually a decent example. I thought I was going nowhere, but it kind of went to a good place. So you believe that you're not good at math. So then now you're going to live your life kind of justifying that trait. And I do that myself for sure. As I, dribble dunks, for those that follow the dunk journey, was a specific type of dunk that I couldn't do. And I would say I'm not good at dribble dunks. And even going back to that book that I really think everybody should read, it's on my website, is The 4 Agreements, is being impeccable with your word. Because even just saying those words out loud is really damaging, because you're reinforcing it and your brain is going to hear that and carve that pattern deeper, and then you're going to not be able to do it because you're going to believe it. So your body's like, oh, you can't dribble dunk. And then when I go to physically do it, it won't allow my body to do it. And some might dispute that, but I really believe that, and there's better examples than that kind of reinforce that, because you're going to be a little bit more tense, like, oh, I'm not going to be able to do this. So you're not really giving it your all. There's all these different biochemistry, biological type of responses. All right. What's this? Okay. The more you try to be certain about something, the more uncertain and insecure you will feel. But the converse is true as well. The more you embrace being uncertain and not knowing, the more comfortable you will feel in knowing what you don't know. So the more you try to be certain about something, the more uncertain and insecure you will feel. So when you're certain about something, everything starts to threaten what you believe, and you will feel so uncertain and insecure. And I really like that, because people think that what you want to find the right one thing, you want to find that one thing. So if you try to believe in it so hard, then you're constantly on the edge. You kind of, I'm very visual, I've mentioned 900 times, and I will mention it 9,000 more times. If you try to think of it visually, it's like you're holding on to one thing so tightly, right? And you're just like gripping it, and you can't let it go. So then every little thing like makes it waver. I don't even know if that's visual at all, but it's just when you're holding on to that certainty thing, whatever that belief is, you're holding on so tightly that it's like you have to struggle just to be like, am I going to be able to hold on to this? I hope nothing makes me like let go of this. You're just like so much tension for no reason, when you don't even have to hold on to it. You could still believe into it, but you don't have to hold on to it so tightly. You could be uncertain about it. Uncertainty also relieves us of our judgment of ourselves. So if you're uncertain, you don't have to judge yourself. You have a belief, and if you go against it, you don't have to be like, no, that's who I am. To me, it doesn't seem, the certainty of these things, like he's explaining in this book, and it just seems like way too much tension on yourself, and just being so closed off to external or even just other experiences besides the beliefs that you already have. And these beliefs you already had could have been built on bad foundations. So that's why I feel like this chapter is so important. The only way to achieve these things is to remain uncertain of them and be open to finding them through experience. Uncertainty is the root of all progress and all growth. As the old adage goes, the man who believes he knows everything learns nothing. That's a great way to sum up what I was just saying. That's why it's an old adage and famous, because someone old, and that was adagey said that. I don't know what I'm saying, but you get it. You learn nothing because you think you know everything. So when someone tries to teach you something or an experience happens, you don't learn anything from it. You're not open. And that also goes back to the book, The 7 Spiritual Laws of Success. I love the law of you're being open to different experiences. I think it's which one was it? Detachment. Like when you have a goal, the law of detachment says you want that goal so bad, you desire from it, but you have to detach how you get that outcome. So if you really want something to happen, you have to detach from the outcome so you can flow with the path of which way it takes you. So you're not stuck to one path. The analogy I use for that is, say your goal is visually on the other side of a mountain, not actually around the mountain, but you have a goal, say it's landing a certain dunk or jumping a certain height, whatever it is, and you're attached to that goal with a string, but there's all these different obstacles in the way. You're just going to hit right up against those obstacles every time because you're not free flowing to move around them or above them or even go backwards, but you're not free flowing to get to that outcome. But if you let go of that rope that's connecting you to that goal, you're free flowing to go around these goals. Okay. So now Manson's law of avoidance. The more something threatens your identity, the more you will avoid it. This means that something that threatens to change how you view yourself, how successful, unsuccessful you believe yourself to be, how well you see yourself living up to your values, the more you will avoid getting around to doing it. There's a certain comfort that comes from knowing how you fit in the world. Anything that shakes up that comfort, even if it could potentially make your life better, is inherently scary. Manson's law applies to both good and bad things in life. Making $1 million could threaten your identity just as much as losing all your money. Becoming a famous rock star could threaten your identity just as much as losing your job. This is why people are often so afraid of success, for the exact same reason they're afraid of failure. It threatens who they believe themselves to be. Whoa. Did that happen yesterday too? Up before my alarm. Let's get it. I love it. If that alarm goes off every time, I'll love it. All right. These are good, important opportunities that we consistently pass up because they threaten to change how we feel and view ourselves. Feel about ourselves. They threaten the values that we've chosen and have learned to live up to. Okay, so that law is really great. The more, just to sum it up, the more something threatens your identity, the more you will avoid it. So this is all raising awareness. So are you limiting yourself because of these beliefs? Are you throwing away opportunities and you're not being open because it's your identity? It's the hardest thing to do. These skills are really hard to develop, which I think he mentions, but it's very, very impactful to your life. And now this is a great example I liked about an artist. I know we're at 12 minutes, but this is really good stuff. He says his friend wanted to be an artist, but he never got started making art. He just kept putting it off. And a great way to put that is he was an artist that nobody knows, but becoming an artist nobody likes was far, far scarier. So because he was an artist, but nobody knew who he was okay, people not acknowledging who he was, because that was way less scary than putting himself out there and being an artist that nobody likes. So that was great for me to hear. So yeah, you got to put yourself out there because you're going to grow from it. We try to live up to them. We protect these values. Whoa, started hard. We protect these values. We try to live up to them, and we justify them and maintain them. Even if we don't mean to, that's how our brain is wired. I say don't find yourself. I say never know who you are. So I'm all about finding yourself, being yourself. So this is another play on that, is don't find yourself. Never know who you are. So yeah, you're finding yourself, but it's not that you're going to find a destination or a final self. Keep finding yourself. Always be uncertain about yourself. I'm going to try to wrap this up a little bit. I just wrapped the page. Okay. There is little that is unique or special about your problems. That's why letting go is so liberating. Choose to measure yourself not as a rising star, an undiscovered genius. Choose to measure yourself not as some horrible victim or dismal failure. Instead, measure yourself by more mundane identities: a student, a partner, a creator, a friend. The narrower, I can't say that for shit. The narrower and rarer the identity you choose for yourself, the more everything will seem to threaten you. For that reason, define yourself in the simplest and most ordinary ways possible. I really like that too. The more you narrow yourself into one thing, everything threatens. It's just making it so much harder for yourself. Question ourselves and doubting our own thoughts and beliefs is one of the hardest skills to develop. Questions like these need to become a mental habit. Am I jealous? And if I am, then why? Am I angry? Is she right? Am I protecting my ego? Just questions that kind of go deeper on yourself. Question really who you are. The goal is merely to ask the questions and entertain the thought at the moment, not to hate yourself. Admit what it would mean if you were wrong. That's because the potential meaning behind our wrongness is often painful. That's why people don't do that. So the first question is, the three questions that he outlines here are, what if I'm wrong? Question 2 is, what would it mean if I'm wrong? And that's where the Aristotle quote comes in. It is the mark of an educated mind to be able to entertain a thought without accepting it. It is the mark of an educated mind to be able to entertain a thought without accepting it. So you can bring it in, but it doesn't. You're able to do it and detach from it. So it doesn't mean that's who you are. Like if you question your identity, you can say, "Is that who I am?" And you can say yes or no. But the point is, you don't have to accept it, but you're able to use that skill. And the last question is, would being wrong create a better or worse problem than my current problem for both myself and others? And that is it. So question yourself, are you wrong? Question who you are and deal with it. Don't avoid it. Check what your beliefs are that you've been working with, that you've built up over the friggin' years for no reason, and be okay with being uncertain. That's the path. That's the way to go. That's the way you grow. And that's it. We went a little long today, but it's a weekend special, dude. Have a good one. I'll cut it there. I hope you learned something. Let me know what you learned. My YouTube is growing really great right now. It's incredible to see people are responding to the podcast. So that is fueling me a lot. I think that's why I went crazy today on this. But yeah, I'm feeling great about it. Thank you everyone for listening. And if you want to work with me, stevenselly.com. And if you want to watch my YouTube, you know, the same place and everything's great. So have a great day. Still spinning toodaloo. See ya.